In this video, we're sharing a hidden story, something that didn't make big headlines but quietly protected the Philippines from a serious economic shock. Back in 2018, US President Donald Trump began placing heavy taxes, called tariffs, on goods from many countries. These tariffs hurt economies around the world. Big countries struggled, smaller ones panicked. But guess what? The Philippines somehow stayed safe. You might be asking, why does the US president's decision matter to the Philippines? The answer is simple, because the world's economies are deeply connected. When America makes a move, the effects spread everywhere like ripples in water. Some countries break under the pressure, others barely survive, but a few surprise everyone. The Philippines was one of those few. The shocking part? The Philippines wasn't affected by Trump's aggressive tariff war, not in 2018, and not now. While others were trembling, the Philippines stood strong. But how? What secret strength saved it? What made this small country avoid the storm? Stick with us. We're about to uncover that one powerful reason. Ready to find out? Let's begin. President Trump's trade war wasn't just politics or talk at campaign rallies. It became a huge part of his plan for the US economy. Under the slogan, America First, his team added big taxes, called tariffs, on goods coming into the country, worth billions of dollars. It started with steel and aluminum, then spread to things like washing machines, solar panels, and thousands more items. His goal was to protect American workers, force other countries into better deals, and cut the US trade gap, especially with China. China was the main target. The US claimed that China was cheating, stealing ideas, controlling its currency unfairly, and helping government-owned businesses too much. By the peak of the trade war, the world was holding its breath. The US put heavy taxes, called tariffs, on over $360 billion worth of goods from China. China didn't stay quiet. It fought back by taxing American products like soybeans, pork, cars, and even airplane parts. It was a smart hit. China aimed at American farmers and factories in places that mattered most in politics. What started as a fight between two powerful countries quickly shook the entire world. It wasn't just the US and China who suffered. Friends of the US like Canada, Japan, South Korea, and even the Philippines got dragged into the chaos. Some were hit with tariffs, even though they had good relations with the US. Others were hurt by the ripple effects, like broken trade routes, higher costs for raw materials, and growing fear in global markets. For the Philippines, a country that depends on exports and workers abroad, the pain was real. Local businesses saw less demand, higher costs, and more competition from goods redirected away from the US. It felt like a storm they never asked for. Foreign investors started to get nervous, scared by the growing problems in the region. Even hard-working Filipinos living abroad, especially those in factories and delivery jobs, began to feel the pressure. Former President Trump had one goal in mind. He thought putting extra taxes on foreign goods would force other countries to make fairer trade deals with the US. He said American companies needed protection from unfair global business. At first, it seemed to help some, like those making steel and aluminum. But the truth was sadder. Prices went up. Everyday Americans had to pay more. Companies needing parts from other countries suddenly faced huge costs. Even farmers suffered. Many countries were hurt badly when their exports got caught in the middle of this trade fight. They lost big markets. Businesses struggled as global trade became harder and more expensive. Fear spread. People stopped investing. Markets shook. The world held its breath. Fast forward to today. Shockingly, Donald Trump is back in the spotlight, once again talking tough about trade. His new idea is something called reciprocal tariffs. It means if another country charges America 20% to sell something, the US will charge the same back. Sounds fair, right? But it's more complicated now. The world in 2025 is not the same as in 2018. After the painful pandemic, many countries realized how weak and risky global trade can be. Supply chains broke. People lost jobs. Now, countries want to depend more on themselves. They're bringing factories home, building local businesses, and trading more with neighbors. The world has changed, but Trump's trade war ideas haven't. That's both shocking and worrying. Even now, many of the same dangers are still out there. If another tariff war starts, it could shake the world's already weak economies. Poorer countries like the Philippines, still trying to recover from the pandemic's pain, could be hit the hardest. Prices for imported goods like phones, machines, and household items might suddenly go up, making life even harder for many people. But there is a small ray of hope. Since many businesses are looking for other options besides China, the Philippines might become a new favorite place for factories, tech support, and outsourcing. The country's skilled workers, especially in digital jobs, could help protect it. Still, the government and businesses must act fast, find new trading partners, and grow their own industries before it's too late. So now, the big and scary question is, what's going to happen next? Will the Philippines once again get stuck in the middle of another global fight it didn't start, or will the country learn from what happened before and make smarter choices this time? As Donald Trump brings back his tough talk about tariffs, small and developing countries are holding their breath. This new trade war might look different, but the danger is still just as real. To understand the risk, we need to know one thing: the Philippines is not a giant economy. It's a medium-sized country that depends a lot on selling things to other nations: electronics, chips, clothes, coconut oil, furniture. Trade is its heartbeat. And when you're linked to the US economy, a tariff can feel like a huge hammer smashing your business. But here's the twist. This hammer didn't strike in 2018, and even now, it hasn't hit. Exporters were scared. Economists were nervous. But the worst didn't happen. Why? That's the heart of this story. Here's the shocking truth. The real protection that saved the Philippines from the painful effects of Trump's tariffs didn't come from fancy trade deals or advanced factories. It wasn't because of clever political moves either. It came from something much more human, something deeply touching and often ignored. It was the Overseas Filipino Workers, the OFWs. Yes, the millions of brave Filipinos who left their families, crossed oceans, and built new lives in faraway countries. While businesses back home were struggling and factories were cutting jobs, these workers kept sending money back home. Quietly. Steadily. Powerfully. They became the unsung heroes, the invisible shield of the Philippine economy. While trade suffered, OFWs sent hope. And not just in small amounts. In 2018 alone, they sent home an unbelievable $32 billion. That's nearly 10% of the whole country's income. That's not just money, it's survival. It paid for school fees, bought food, covered hospital bills, and helped families stay afloat. These remittances weren't just numbers in a bank report. They were love, sacrifice, and the silent strength that kept the Philippines standing during hard times. The truth is both touching and powerful. OFW remittances do more than just support families. They help build small businesses like online shops, food stalls, and transport services. They keep the economy moving, even when the peso drops or foreign investors pull away. While the world slows down, OFW money keeps flowing in, giving the Philippines the stability it needs. These dollars, euros, yen, and other currencies help keep banks strong, reduce the need for the country to borrow heavily, and make sure people still have money to spend. Even when exports stop or factories slow down, grocery stores stay open, kids still go to school, and people still dream of starting businesses, because of the remittances from abroad. From Filipino nurses in the UK, sailors in Europe, engineers in the Middle East, to housekeepers in Hong Kong and Singapore, and IT workers in Canada and Australia, every single peso they send carries more than money. It carries love, heartbreak, and quiet strength. It's a mother missing her baby's first steps. A father working in silence for his child's future. Every remittance is a sacrifice wrapped in care, a lifeline of hope sent from miles away. Overseas Filipino Workers, our OFWs, are true heroes of today. Not just because they work hard, but because they carry the weight of the whole country's economy on their shoulders. While politicians argue over plans and experts talk about solutions, OFWs don't wait. They work. They save. And they send money back home. Their impact goes far beyond helping their own families. Banks create special accounts just for OFWs. Big companies build condos hoping OFWs will buy them. Schools stay open because OFW parents keep paying for their kids' education. From one worker's salary abroad, entire towns and cities feel the benefit. During both of Trump's trade wars, first in 2018 and now again, while many feared the worst, OFWs quietly stood strong. They were the silent shield that stopped the Philippine economy from falling apart. While the world worried about factories and trade, the Philippines leaned on something more powerful: its people. Because OFWs don't just send money. They send hope. They send strength. They send life. They are more than workers abroad. They are the heartbeat of a nation, holding everything together with silent courage and endless love. The most overlooked strength of the Philippines, its quiet source of pride, is its people working abroad. Now let's connect the dots. When the US put heavy taxes, tariffs, on Chinese goods, global trade routes changed. American companies started searching for new partners. Southeast Asia caught their eye. Many thought the Philippines would suddenly boom in factories and production, maybe even become the next China. But that didn't happen. Instead, the country leaned on something deeper: its overseas workers. While exports slowed down, money from OFWs kept rising. Some industries shrank, but families still spent money. The peso stayed strong. Inflation didn't go wild. The economy didn't crash, it even grew. And this helped the government breathe. They didn't have to panic. They could still work on roads, schools, and healthcare, all because of OFWs. Other countries weren't so lucky. Vietnam adapted fast and gained. Malaysia and Thailand struggled with rising prices. But the Philippines showed the world something new: how remittances could protect an entire country. Even the IMF and World Bank noticed. Global experts were surprised. They said remittances, the money sent home by Filipinos working abroad, became a strong shield for the Philippine economy. No, it wasn't perfect. And no, it can't last forever. But in that difficult moment, it worked. So what can we learn from this? First, real economic strength doesn't always come from factories or exports. Sometimes, it comes from people, the heart of a nation. Second, when a country earns money from many sources, it's stronger. Third, we shouldn't ignore the unseen strengths, things that don't make the news but quietly keep everything standing. And finally, never ever doubt the courage of the Filipino people. But now comes the question: what's next? Depending too much on OFWs is risky. Families stay apart. Talented people leave. Local jobs may stop growing. But what if we used that remittance money to build something new? What if we invested it in technology, clean energy, or education? Imagine if tomorrow's OFWs weren't just workers abroad, but business owners at home. The thing that saved the country wasn't a headline. It was the love, sacrifice, and strength of millions of Filipinos.